Alright, so in this video we're going to have a little chat about a highly misunderstood, a highly charged kind of subject, which is judgment or being judgmental. And what I want to do in this video is break down the bullshit that surrounds this thing, because honestly no one really understands it, and the way what people think that it is actually not what it really is. And this is largely due to the cultural operating system that we've been brought up in, where things that are vital to our survival, vital to our growth, our evolution, our unique expression in this life are demonized. They're tucked away in the corner. We're taught that they're evil. We're taught that they're scary. We shouldn't do them. We shouldn't have them. And in reality, what this causes us to do is direct these things in the wrong way. Because if they are a part of who we are, we really can't get rid of it. It's like if you say sex is bad, it's not that sex is going to go away, it's just going to come out in more fucked up and twisted ways. You say being judgmental is bad, or angry or sad is bad, those things are not going to go away. They're just going to come out in really weird, more twisted ways. And it's just, yeah, it's a really odd thing that we do to ourselves. So I want to break down sort of the misunderstanding and then present a way that we can look at it that's actually more true, something that's actually useful and helpful to us in our growth. Because I've recently published a couple of articles that are along these lines. One is called Why Being in the Present Moment is a Waste of Time, and it explores this. I had a similar idea. And another one called Why Modern Spirituality is Largely Impotent, Empty, and Superstitious. So I'll link those below for further exploration on these profound and exciting topics. So if we're cut off from this thing, we're cut off from a huge piece of who we are. If we don't understand this faculty that we have, then we're going to misunderstand a huge piece of who we are. And then also, just on a personal basis, to make this more personal, this is a huge annoyance of mine, or a huge pet peeve of mine, is like throughout my life, I can remember just even being a kid and having a lot of shame around this, being brought up in a Christian household and living in a fucking pseudo-scientific, pseudo-Christian world where this is very demonized. And if you have strong opinions, no one's going to love you, or no one will like you, or you'll make everyone mad, or you'll hurt everyone's feelings, or no one will love you, no one will take care of you. You won't be able to make money. You have to, follow the rules. You have to say the right things to get in the right door, to get in the right position, and kiss this right person's ass, and grease this rung of the ladder so you can get to the next one. And it's this whole facade, this whole thing of like massive dishonesty, massive manipulation, massive repression, massive violence. That's all happening on this subtle psychological, emotional level. But yet, within that context, you're an asshole if you have an opinion. It's like, And I should say, as a caveat, what we're having is an adult conversation, or somewhat more of an adult conversation. We're having a grown-up conversation, because these things can be taken in very wrong ways, because your opinion might be, I hate people of this race or this ethnicity or of this gender. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about. That's stupidity, that's ignorance, and that's part of really what we're trying to unpack. So to get to what we're trying to say is that we can really trace a lot of these ideas back to some people's rough bullshit ideas of religion or spirituality or being a good person or morality, or some way that we're going to like be a good kid and then get the reward. We're going to say the right thing, do the right thing, and then somehow the universe or God or something is going to be like, good job, pat on the back, here's some good points, or here's a reward, or here's eternal bliss, or whatever the fuck we think we're going to get by lying to ourselves and other people. So a great example of this is people will quote, judge not lest you be judged. Like, oh, well, Jesus said it, and Jesus was, even if you don't like Christianity, if you don't like religion, Jesus had some good things to say, and he was just like Buddha, and he was just like Lao Tzu, and he was just like Krishna, and all these other people. It's all the same, it's all one. which again is not actually true. If you actually study anything past a generic, meme level, these things are very different, very nuanced, and we have to realize that we're not getting the fucking point, which is that oftentimes things are more like a joke. So people say, judge not lest you be judged. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that a judgment about judgment? Well, wait. Aren't you contradicting yourself there a little bit, Jesus? And now I can see already I'm going to get a bunch of fucking comments from Jesus people being like, oh, you don't understand what the Lord meant. And if you just give yourself over, you'll be saved and you can repent. And honestly, I do not give a fuck. So please save yourself the time and energy. Save me the time of maybe having to look at it and just fucking don't, because I don't care. In case that wasn't clear already. So say, judge not lest you be judged. Wait, that's a judgment about judgment. Oh, that's kind of confusing. Oh, wait. So but so many people fucking live their lives under this idea of like, oh, I'm a non-judgmental person. I do non-violent communication. I do all of these things. It's like, no, you're just lying to yourself because you have a judgment. That judgment is bad. And really what that translates to is, you know what? I don't really want to grow. I don't really want to be an individual person. I don't really want to have healthy boundaries. You know what? Fuck all that shit. I'm just going to cling to this delusion that if I just do it and cling hard enough and resist my natural tendencies hard enough and lie to everyone hard enough and contradict all of life hard enough, then somehow this higher being will smile upon me and I'll get the reward of good karma or abundance or more something that we think we're going to get based on this ridiculous artificial construct that we're supposedly an alternative to, but we're actually just exaggerating it in a different, slightly modified way. You got me on that one. So we say this, okay, that's a judgment about judgment. Okay, we'll unpack that a little bit more because it's a little bit of a paradox, kind of. And really what it's getting to is that in a way, our judgments are just sort of judgments about ourselves. And then people say, oh, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have judgments. Actually, that's cute, right? But if we're hanging out, we're in a room, and I pull out a gun, you're gonna have a fucking judgment. You're gonna be like, fuck this. Where's the door? Can I get out? You're gonna make all these judgments really quick. The person next to you might be your best friend, but they also, within 15 seconds, might be your fucking shield. So all of your conditioning, all of your do-gooding, whatever, that's gone instantaneously. So all of your Victorian romanticized ideals and cute, fuzzy, warm, fuzzy stories are gone instantaneously within a fraction of a second. So there's that aspect. Now, without getting too far into the world is just all your reflection and it's all just about you. And there's a lot of people that are really into that trip, and there's obviously an element of truth to that, but often it misses the point and it just reinforces our pre-existing narcissism, our pre-existing delusion of our self-identity and self-importance. Because people are like, oh, whatever you say, it doesn't matter because it's just your opinion, it's just your judgment, and it allows people to even bury their heads further in the sand, which is again the same thing of just saying like, oh well, judge not lest you be judged, because that just means like judgment's bad and I shouldn't do it. It's a very generic, kind of childish, very idealistic, moralistic way of looking at a situation, which takes one shred of truth and thinks that's the whole picture, which it's really not. So moving on within this conversation, we have these two aspects. So judge not lest you be judged. Wait, that's a judgment about judgment. That's weird. And then, well, wait, if we're having a judgment, it's just reminding us of an issue within ourselves. Yes, to a degree. And also this whole side of ourselves, this whole thing that we are, which is constantly judging and refining all the time. So there's that aspect. So you take this, put it in the blender, and fast forward to modern times here and right now, and basically what happens practically is we have this natural faculty, right, of discernment, of judgment, of saying this thing, and we direct it towards the wrong things, right? It's directed towards having the right car, having the right money, having the right physical shape, being better than someone, being worse than someone, being good enough, being smart enough, being pretty enough, being all of these things which are completely fucking fictitious, because there's no such thing. Because in reality, everything is like everything is a middle in a way. Like in the sense of, if you have $1 billion and you think you're king of the world, but there's people with way more money than that, and you think your life is horrible because this thing happened, but there's people that have it way worse. You think you're tall, there's always someone taller. You think you're short, there's someone shorter. So many things. So we're all embedded within this middleness, this sort of this profound and infinite spectrum of experience, and that ties back into something being a reflection of us. Because if we're really buying into the idea that, oh, well, this person really is, prettier than me, and I need to now I have to go on this diet and get all this plastic surgery, that can then be like, well, wait, there's something else really going on there, perhaps. And basically what happens is religion and marketing and government and ruling bodies use these faculties against us, because we're taught at a deep level, we're taught at a young age that this is bad, you shouldn't do it, but we're going to take fucking advantage of it and use it against you. And a great example is a lot of the marketing that happens, and we'll take women for example, drilling this fucking insecurity, drilling this fucking ideal body image, this ideal bullshit into them at a fucking young age, and just pounding it in. And if you don't look this way, no one will love you. And if you don't act this way and do these things and do all blah blah blah, then no one will love you. Whether it's be a martyr or be a victim or be a slave or sacrifice yourself for everyone else, or starve yourself and have some crazy body and do all this crazy shit and just pound it in all the time in very subtle, slightly nefarious ways. And then basically, then you're also saying, oh, well, don't have an opinion, don't question any of this, don't have a judgment, don't be discerning, don't, try to break out of it because you're a fucking asshole if you do that. Who are you? Who are you to question this? I mean, you don't know. I mean, we're this big, powerful institution. We're this big, powerful ruling body, and you're just some fucking, what are you? Just a person, worthless human who your thighs touch and you fucking have cellulite, and you're not married, you're 35 and you're not married. Who are you? You're a piece of shit. And we could go into similar programming that gets hits with men and different cultures and all kinds of different things, but basically that's sort of the world, and that's very common for many of us. So the moral of that story is if you're raised within this kind of world that tells you, being judgmental is bad, being self-centered is bad, being opinionated is bad, then you're just going to fucking take your beating, and you're going to love it because you've been taught that you have to love it. But perhaps in that instance, you could actually utilize judgmentality in a real way, which says, actually, all of these opinions and all of these ideas and all of this stuff that you're trying to put at me, it's actually fucking bullshit. And I don't care, actually. And it really doesn't matter. So instead of directing my judgment towards, do I look this way? Should I stand this way in the picture or this way in the picture, or get this side of me or this angle so I can present the best part of myself so that hopefully I'll land the best social proof and the best social approval, and then I'll get the right guy, and then I'll have the right friends, and everyone will like me, and then I'll be happy. Or you could have all of that judgment, or walk down the street and say, ew, what's that bitch wearing? Or ew, fuck that guy, or ew, that car is a piece of shit. You could have that kind of judgmentality, which is what I think when you talk about being judgmental, that's what people think that it means, is you're just like, oh, everyone's stupid. I'm so much better than everyone. And again, that's just the religious stupidity that I was talking about earlier. But what I'm trying to get at is the judgmental they don't want you to do. Or the implicit opinionation, the implicit judgment, the implicit expression that is demonized is to actually turn it around and question the things that are trying to take away your power, the things that are trying to repress you in the first place. And then I can tell you it's not going to be a cakewalk. You're not going to get a reward. No one's going to congratulate you. No one's going to shake your hand. In fact, everyone's probably going to fucking hate you. Because everyone's like, oh, I'm an authentic person. I'm like spiritual and I tell the truth and I'm in the moment. But the second fucking anything gets real beyond a surface, generic meme fucking 2016 bullshit ignoramus level, and all of a sudden everyone's like, all their issues come out. Well, you're a fucking asshole. Well, you're mean. You think you're better than everyone. You think you're better than me. You think you're smarter than me. You think all these things. And then it's like, oh, you're just triggering all of my insecurity. You're triggering my value issues or my safety issues or my power issues. And I don't like it. And it's your fault and you're mean. And that's what I was talking about earlier, was sort of like things being a reflection of a judgment within us. Whereas, the more actually in touch with your own stuff, through actually being judgmental about things that are worth being judgmental about. Like, for example, my hair is going gray. Whatever. I could do the modern American thing and be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh, I got to dye my hair. I can't let anyone see this natural process that happens to most everyone. Fuck that shit. Maybe no one will love me. Maybe no one will like me. Oh. And then have to exert all of this anxiety and all of this stress and all of this worry. And then I'm going to feel this deep emotional bullshit. Then I'm probably going to not sleep as well and not eat as well. And that pattern is going to play out over a long period of time. Then I'm going to start drinking and smoking weed and do all these things. And all of a sudden I have this bullshit lifestyle just to support and hold up this fucking nothing, this illusion, this like place that I'm afraid to actually be judgmental and say, I don't know, is that actually like a thing? Is that actually real? Do I actually care? Or is this just some idea that someone's like, hey, take this. It's going to make you feel horrible. Take it away. Please take it. So that's what I'm saying, is being judgmental actually about the right things. Power institutions, societal programming, conditioning, religious upbringing, cultural upbringing, parental upbringing, various ways in which you constrict and constrain yourself on a regular fucking basis, the ways in which you try to do that to other people, the ways in which you abuse yourself on a regular basis and fucking love it. Maybe that's worth being a bit judgmental about, instead of just being some sort of homogenized, pasteurized fucking, like, some sort of oneness motherfucker. Like, this is really, I think, what people are deeply striving for in modern times. It's just like safe, bland, homogenized, pasteurized, factory farmed, just blah. Everyone kind of looks the same. No one's overtly anything, and everything just exists within this mediocre, mundane, fucking boring bullshit. No one has too strong an opinion. No one really has too strong an emotion. No one really looks too male or too female. Everyone just has kind of the same like body, and then we shame everyone that doesn't have the body, and it just creates a really weird fucking world, and you can see the roots of it in our culture right now. We're not there yet, but that's kind of where a lot of people want to go. Willingly, unwillingly, consciously, unconsciously, but it's basically up to us to wake the fuck up and realize, no, fuck that. And this is a deep part of ourselves that we've been cut off from, is no, fuck that. It's bullshit. I'm not doing it. Because that reflex within ourselves we all had as a kid, where we're just like, no, I don't want to do that. Why? I just don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? I don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? I don't want to do it. It's fucking stupid. And really, it's like, well, the reason why I want to do it is because my entire fucking organism says, fuck this, to what you're trying to get me to do. It's like, Oh, your kid has ADD. Well, why? He can't sit down and listen to a fucking lecture about erosion or fucking chemistry. It's like, well, he's 6. Did you give a fuck about that stuff when you were 6? No. So then can you maybe empathize with this thing that you supposedly call a human being? And you're supposedly a human being, so maybe put yourself in their shoes for a second and realize, oh yeah, that's just really fucking boring. Who the fuck cares, especially a kid? Who gives a fuck about that stuff, really? But no, we can't do that. We can't say that. We can't have opinions. And we can't think about things. We can't reflect on things. What we need to do is just be present, just be spiritual, just be nice, just be kind, just be loving, just be pacified, just be sedated, just be calm. Just reduce your conversations to something that can be summed up on a fucking Twitter post or a meme or a 1.5 minute YouTube video that changes scenes and cuts every 5 to 10 seconds because you're too fucking stupid to be able to actually take anything past the surface level. And a great example of this is, for a long time I've been making fun of yoga in America. Now, caveat, I do yoga. I practice it for a long time. I stretch, I breathe, it's fucking awesome. It's great, but I see it for what it is. I understand what it is and how it fits within a greater context, culturally, spiritually, even religiously, philosophically, physically, and how it is this whole other thing that is not really what the fuck it is in America in modern times. And people will want to say like, oh, well, it's just been marketed too much and people just try to make money off of it, and that's what's wrong, and it's yoga, you shouldn't make money off of it. And I just want to be like, who has actually done the research and taken the time to say, well, wait, where did this come from? Who was the progenitor? Where did this originate from within our modern times? And are the roots of that origination sprouting now? Yes. And basically, to long story short, how really yoga got popular for white people in the West is it originally all started with rich white people in Russia being like, oh, this Eastern mysticism stuff sounds pretty cool. It's like they called it like Occidentalism or like Orientalism, and like, oh, this is crazy. So that's really how a lot of this thing started in the West, is just sort of like a new coffee table for someone, or like a source of entertainment, or some of like validation, or some fun, interesting, novel form of entertainment. And fast forward to modern times, that's basically what spirituality is for people. That's basically what religion serves for people, is like, I have my selfish agenda, I have my selfish desires, I don't really want to question them, I don't actually want to like investigate them at all, I don't want to be judgmental because that's bad, I don't want to be reflective because that's bad, I don't want to have critical thought because that's bad, that's evil, I just need to accept, I just need to sedate, I just need to relax, I just need to release, I just need to let go, I just need to give over my power, I just need to surrender, I just need to do all these things, and then I'll get the carrot, I'll get the cake, I'll get the reward, I'll get the pat on the back, I'll get the whatever thing that fulfills my societally conditioned agenda, which is actually not real, which is actually not true. It actually has no real solid foundational basis, but don't question it because that's evil and that's bad. But this thing sounds fun, it sounds cool, it sounds interesting, it gives me something to do, gives me a way of separating myself from other people under the pretext of relating, gives me a way of feeling one while actually in practice cutting myself off from the actual interconnected nature that is life, that is natural, that is inherent, that is built into each and every one of our experiences all the time from beginning till end, because that is actually how life is. There's nothing we actually have to do to get that or to achieve that or to somehow have that. Where our initial cultural programming is like, don't do these things because they're bad, they're evil, don't question, don't be critical, don't have an opinion, don't be judgmental. Or if you're going to do those things, let's distort it in a way that actually works against you instead of for you, that actually separates from you from people instead of helping you see your interconnectedness and your interrelationship with everyone around you and everything around you. Let's just skew all that, because we can't have you on board with that. Because then if you did, were a bit more in touch with that, then you would be a bit more empowered, you would be a little bit more self-centered, and then a lot of this shit just really wouldn't work anymore, and then what will we do then? I don't know. So what I'm saying is we have this original programming, and people are like, oh God, man, I've seen the light. You know, I took ayahuasca, I took mushrooms, I smoked weed, I had an experience, I did something, I saw a guru, I went to a class, and now, you know what, now I'm fucking spiritual. I was this, but now I'm this. Just because I just said it was so. Because I have that power or something. And basically what happens is just taking that initial thing and putting it in like a new outfit. And then this whole thing is just about like surrender, let go, and let God, give up, give it all over. Which there is some truth to that if you actually can understand what they mean and what they're pointing to, not just take them at face value, like I was saying earlier about the whole judgmental thing. There's that, and there's the whole aspect of just be calm, just be nice, just be kind, just be loving, don't be mean, don't have an opinion, don't offend anyone, don't be too loud, don't have too extreme reactions, you know, be balanced, be non-attached, be present, be calm. And all this is just more sedation, more repression. So at many angles, we have the same agenda sort of coming at us. And then we have Western sort of pharmaceutical mindset, which wants to sedate the fuck out of us. We have TV and this whole modern Disneyland kind of consciousness that just, again, wants to take all of our energy, all of our chi, and put it in some little astral psychic level box and totally take us out of even our experience of life. And basically homogenize us and make us docile and make us, you know, sedate little goody-goodies. Why? Because we're all too fucking weak as a culture, as a modern world, to fucking handle anything outside of our own little societally conditioned, traumatized, childish state. Because I'm offended. It hurts my feelings. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. We gotta start a protest. I don't agree with that. We gotta lash out. I don't agree with that guy. I gotta lash out. It's like, what does that mean? You're offended. What does that mean? Your feelings are hurt. It's like, since when did sticks and stones become like a forgotten fucking thing? Like, what did kids say? Sticks and stones gonna break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And then the other shit about you know, words and glue bounces off me, it sticks to you. All of this shit, we all probably said it as kids because people around us are saying things and we're like, nah, fuck that. No thanks. But then being a kid and having, I don't know, again, this agenda from multiple angles, maybe our parents, maybe we had cool parents, I don't know, but some of us just had the family we had the life we had the upbringing we had, and if you're like me, it was very conservative Christian, not very bright, not very question oriented. And I can remember as a kid being sort of shut down quite a lot. You're too hyper, you're too this, you're too that, you're too loud, you're too blah blah blah, you're too why would you say that, whatever. And I just remember this, this came to me. I remember being a kid, and when I first started going to church and like putting it together, and I was like, hey mom, can I commit suicide? And mom was like, what do you mean? And I'm just like, well, because that way I can just be with Jesus sooner. It's like, because the whole programming is like, you're going to be with God, you're going to be with Jesus after you die, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fucking perfect. It's so much better than this life. This life fucking sucks. It's full of sin, it's full of sinners, it's full of temptation, it's full of the devil. It's just, you're here on probation, and you're here on punishment, and you better follow the rules, and this is fucking horrible. So I was like, well, why wouldn't I just bypass all that shit and just get straight to the good part? Because I was a little kid, and I'm just like, it kind of makes sense. And then it was just like, no, you can't do that. It's like, well, why can't I do that? Because. Why? Because that's bad. It's like, interesting. Like, so I can't kill myself, but if something else kills me, then it was God's will. Like, if a fucking tornado hits me, like, that's God's will. But then if I get hit by a car, that's God's will. But if I do it, it's not interesting. But if I close my eyes and walk across the street, is that God's will? It's like, if I see a tornado coming and I run towards it, is that God's will? I was like, oh, there's some holes in the logic here. Some holes in the story. And then I don't know. But I remember asking that as a kid because it made total sense. And it was just like, no, don't fucking ask. No, don't do that. And so many other examples I could get into. But the point of that is that we've all probably had similar experiences. Now, some safety valves, I guess, because some people are fucking stupid and take things too literally, because we all have our truth, right? We all have our authenticity, we all have our natural expression, and we have these judgmental capacities, and what I'm really trying to get at is using them in the right way, directing it towards actually a healthy expression that helps us grow. Rather than, trying to belittle someone else or demonize someone else or put down someone else or do all of these things. Because in reality, it has nothing to do with that other person, really. I mean, sometimes it does. Like, someone comes up to you, like if a Jehovah's Witness or some Mormon asshole knocks on my door right now, like, how I respond, has a lot to do with, like, me. But at the same time, there's also something that's, like, not me. And that's part of the paradox of life. And too many sort of nitwitted, dim-witted, fucking annoying spiritual people take this whole thing way too far and use it as just another way to repress and put down other people. Because putting down someone's statement because it's their opinion or their judgment, and have that being the sole basis of why it's incorrect, that's not okay. Because the whole, what you're saying is equally as invalidated by your own logic, by your own statement. It's like, well, it's your opinion and your judgment that it's my opinion and my judgment, so it's nothing, right? There's no usefulness to that. There's no human quality. Just like we could walk around and be like, well, everything is nothing and everything is something and everything is always one, and what did exist always has existed, and what will exist also exists here and now, and we're all one with everything, and we're all one stream of infinite consciousness, seeing itself in multiple different ways, and blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people think that's, like, profound. To me, that's really trivial. It's like, so what? Like, duh. Like, you needed this to be important for some reason, but this has always been true. It always will be true. So it's like, you'd be like, whoa, dude, this room's like full of oxygen right now. Holy shit, there's fucking oxygen in here. Oh my God. Like, let me make an hour video about that, and how interesting is that going to be? And then, because then we can say, well, why are we here? What is our life really about? And what is this all about? We could say it could be learning, growing, exploring, having fun, having an adventure, having a journey, playing it all out. And perhaps if we just sit in a dull, sort of monotone state of it's all one, like, it's like, well, if it's all one, it's all interconnected, why don't you fucking do something? Like, if you are God and you are interconnected with everything, then fucking do something. Like, why would you just sit on your fucking ass and you play your djembe and your didgeridoo and smoke weed and watch conspiracy theory documentaries all day long and, hate on people, but we're all one, bro. Like, well, then go do something. Like, create something. Like, help someone. Do something outside of yourself. Contribute. I don't know, because it's all the same energy anyway, so whatever. But yeah, that's just a judgment. So yeah, people can use this in really nefarious and repressive ways, which if you've spent any time in the spiritual world, you've seen these things show up, and you've seen how cults and Scientology and shit like that works. Which if you haven't seen the Scientology Going Clear documentary, you should watch it, because it really exemplifies a lot of the nefarious uses of these things. Because part of our other idealistic romanticism, Victorian whatever, is that somehow spiritual stuff is like special or it's good when it's not actually the case at all. It's just as irrelevant as everything else. It's just as important as everything else. You can use it to really fuck people. You can use it to help people. And on our planet right now, a lot of it's being used to keep people sort of zombified and stupefied. So, you know, you can have an understanding, you can have a wisdom, you can have an insight, but that doesn't mean it's going to make you a better person. That doesn't mean it's going to help you. Doesn't mean it's going to help anyone else. Because if you're a fucking scumbag and your main desire is more power, more control, more manipulation, that's all you're going to use it for, because that's all you're interested in, because you haven't actually been honest with yourself. Because that's the other side of what we're talking about as far as being judgmental, is actually requires you to actually be fucking honest with yourself and actually be like, well, what is this really about? And then start to get a bit more in touch with what's actually going on, who you actually are, what your actual core beliefs are. Because, you know, if I make a video and I start hating on, like, you know, fuck religion, fuck this, blah, 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 which actually I have done and I do quite frequently. To me, I know what I mean by that. And I also understand that things are tools and that we're all on our own path. We're all on our own journey. We all need things at different times, different places. So I can invalidate something from so many different angles and tear it apart, but it also might really help someone within a certain thing. It might give someone a glimmer of hope, which pulls them out of a dark situation. And I get that, but it's hard to really, like, if you talk like that, no one understands you. You're just like, well, this is fucking bullshit, but it's actually really good, but it's actually bullshit, but it's actually really good, but it's actually just neutral and irrelevant, but it's actually good, but it's actually bullshit, and you just roll around in these circles, and then at the end, people are just like, this is boring. So there's a certain limitation that we have within language. But if you're a bit more telepathic, you're a bit more open, you can pick up on a little bit more about what I'm saying. But the point I'm getting at is, what trips me out is always seeing people's reactions and their judgments about things, right? For example, I wrote an article about how I said like the whole divine masculine feminine thing was actually just reinforcing oppression, but just reversed, and just was another springboard for kind of hatred and limitation, because all you're really doing is taking societally provided gender roles, putting a new label on them, and then putting them on people. So you're not really liberating anyone. You're just creating more gender roles, more expectation, more baggage, more bias, more pressure, more obligation, more frustration, more resentment, which is taking you in the opposite direction of what you're actually saying you're doing and what you're actually supposedly interested in. That's what the article was about. That's what I said. That's what I meant. That's what I said. And that's what I re-emphasized what I meant. But how a lot of people took it is, I had a decent amount of women that were like, oh, fuck you. You just hate women. You just hate feminism. You're just another asshole man who wants to hold me down. Again, in that situation, they didn't even fucking read what I said. They didn't even reference anything that I actually said. It was just all about me triggering their, oh, man, oh, hurts my feelings, oh, hate him. Then the other side of it was a lot of men being like, yeah, fucking feminism's stupid. Women are annoying. I'm tired of women doing this. Like all this kind of thing. And I'm like, it was really disheartening for a while. Because I'm like, I didn't mean either of those things, and I don't want to be associated with either of those perspectives, because that's not my point. That's not what I said. That's not what I implied. That's not what I hinted. That's nothing at all. But then we realize, oh, okay, that's them actually. And they're lacking the judgment, discernment quality in their honesty that I'm trying to point out, to say, oh, wait, actually, I didn't act, to the point to say, oh, actually, I didn't read anything he said. I probably just glanced the fucking article, looked at the title, made up my own bullshit about it, and then spouted off my own agenda. That's oftentimes what happens, and that's honestly why I get trepidatious for making videos like this and mini videos, and why I don't make a lot of videos about certain things, why I don't say a lot of things, and why I'll not talk about certain things publicly, but only on a one-on-one basis, because of fucking things like what I'm talking about. Because, like I said, truth or different principles, different cosmic things are not inherently good or bad, right or wrong. They can be used in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot of sick motherfuckers in the world. There's a lot of stupid idiots, dumb shit, zealot, dogmatic morons as well that want to take and appropriate things for their own agendas and think they really get it. And what I'm trying to say is the honesty is to get to the point to where you read something, you have a reaction, you're like, oh yeah, that's just like this thing, whatever, it's fine. And then you can actually see, like, this is a thing, okay, but then what does this person mean? And then you can actually start to understand this other person, which is really funny, because if you start to actually do that, you have to be a bit more selfish and a bit more self-centered, which this is the interesting fucking thing. You become more selfish, more self-centered, you understand yourself better. People say, oh my God, that's so bad. You need to be selfless. You need to give yourself. You need to give. You need to love. You need to do all these things for all these other people and be a martyr and sacrifice yourself and be a victim and do what I want you to do and live the way I want you to live. Do all these things because that's selfless. And that's what Jesus did. That's what the Dalai Lama did. That's what all these people were doing. Which is actually not true. It's actually not the case. It's actually fucking stupid. What I'm trying to say is, in reality, you get in touch with this and you realize, oh yeah, this is just like my thing. And what does that allow you to do? Oh, that's like what they're saying. That's like their thing. So it's like, I'm more selfish, but I actually can understand and see this person more clearly. Because I have an understanding of how I'm fucking ruining the situation with my own bias, my own baggage, my own bullshit. And I actually hear this other person, this other human being, rather than just being like, oh, I know what you're saying. You're just another one of these fucking whatever, which is really violent. Or the other side of it, the sort of passive-aggressive emotional manipulation, being like, oh, it hurts my feelings. You're so mean. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to vomit all of this emotional energy into space and onto you because you said something I didn't like. And rather than being emotionally and psychologically mature enough to say I didn't like it and here's why I didn't like it and here's why I agreed or didn't disagree, I'm just going to cry and manipulate you that way and shut down and completely control the situation because there's nothing you can do. Oh no. We've all had that experience, I'm sure. But anyways, that's I don't know. It's probably pretty much it on this subject. I can hear the crickets chirping already. But anyways, hopefully this has been helpful through its meandering kind of right brain sort of way. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully it's been helpful. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.